So, I think if Tyler was going to be any F1 driver, and this is based purely on what I've seen on the simulator, it's going to have to be a driver that isn't the favorite of a lot of people.
Maldonado?
I was going to say Sonoda. I mean, he spins out a lot, and you were able to stay on the track. It's also kind of funny because he's so short and you're so tall.
Yep.
Could be a uke.
Yeah. I guess it could have been worse. I was expecting you to say like Nicholas Latifi or Lance Stroll or some shit like that.
One of the Canadians. I mean, he could.
Yeah. I mean,
You said that's on the simulator?
Based on the simulator data that I've been able to pile over.
oh,
drunkenly judged. I'm standing behind him going, you're hitting the clutch for the brake.
yeah, it was fucking incredibly difficult to use that. I also don't play video games, so
Well, shit.
And
Yeah,
then
you
one-
drive a car though, don't you?
yeah,
the one
but fucking
to be fair, the one time I used it, it was extremely difficult to get used to.
It's not easy. I remember when I first got that wheel and Dave and I were playing racing games and I was handing Dave's ass to him on the regular. And then I plugged in the wheel for the first time and it was like a 2-year-old. I couldn't fucking keep the car on the track.
Jesus,
Definitely is something to get used to for sure.
for sure. Well, this is the Tire Preference Podcast. What's up?
What's up? Yes,
Yo,
this
yo,
is the Tire
yo.
Preference Podcast. Welcome all to the podcast about tire preferences. Actually, it's about Formula One. But
Is that a precursor for something? Is that foreshadowing?
can you imagine if we just had a podcast about tires? I mean, I'm sure there's probably 100 people that would probably listen to it every week and be like,
That's
"Man,
more
And
than
today
that
we're
now.
going to talk about Dunlop rain tires
right."
for
It would have, I
mid-sized
feel like
passenger cars.
we'd have to have 3 different characters that we do each, and like one of them would be like the calm, cool, and collected British guy that runs NPR or PBS radio show for just classical music, and the other one's going to be the loud, typical American, beer belly.
Well, I think it should be mud tires or all terrains, wherever you go.
I think it should be whatever tire is needed for the situation that you're currently in.
I don't think I would have agreed to do that podcast. if
Just
all we did
straight
was just
tire
talk about
preference?
fucking-
Yeah, I don't know
Just
if I
tires.
would either.
Well, my car's sitting in the driveway. I prefer the Toyos, but I prefer the Pirellis when I'm driving on the highway.
Well, I really want the Toyos, but Toyos is a name brand and they're expensive.
They are expensive. Well, so is Pirellis, but Pirellis is worth it.
That truck came with Toyos.
Isn't your truck Japanese?
It is.
Yes, but I'm going to assume that Dave's truck and my truck were made in the same factory. Dave, what year's your truck?
2020.
Okay. The Toyota manufacturing plant for their trucks,
Is
at
it like
least
San
when-
Antonio or something?
Yeah, it's in Texas, so they're technically
Tough.
American made.
Yeah. American
By-
assembled at least.
By migrant Mexican workers.
You know, fucking whatever.
Because there's no power in Texas.
One of my friend's dads he's a big time like pro America, love America, and he got himself a Chevrolet because that's an American truck and he's an American man. And
Those
he
are
loves
made
to
in
make fun
Mexico.
of and it was made in Mexico.
Well, what we're going to be talking about today was made in Britain. Actually, I guess you could say it was made in Hungary because we're talking about the Hungarian GP. Formula One race. This is the 12th. Is this round 12?
13 maybe?
I think it's 13. I think there's 22 races and there's 9 left.
Yeah, I think that was around 13.
Yeah,
Come on,
How many
there's,
episodes do we have?
yeah.
Well,
No,
this
we
is
didn't wanna-
this
Yeah,
is
we
like,
do
this
we
will
do
be 20, I
bi-weeks.
think.
round 20.
Yay!
Is this
Well,
episode? No, this isn't episode. Last episode was
No, the last one was 19.
This is episode 20. Welcome to episode 20 of the Tire Preference Podcast.
We've done this for 20 weeks in a row since the time we were on vacation.
We are steamrolling along.
That was round 13 that we just had in Hungary.
All right.
Speaking of round 13, what are you guys drinking?
My 13th round is this Deutsch Pilsner. Das Pilsner. It's from the fatherland, and it's pretty good.
Nice. Dave, what do you have?
I got a Boneyard Brewer.
Yeah.
Pulp.
From
It's
Bend,
nice.
Oregon.
It's pretty good.
Oregon.
It's nice
Oregon.
and citrusy.
Oh, so there was a guy at my store the other day. He had an Oregon shirt, and I was like, "You from Oregon?" And he goes, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm from Oregon." He goes, "What?" He goes, "I'm from Eugene." I was like, "I'm from Eugene." he's like, "Where'd you live at?" I was like, "Oh, I grew up like in between Good Pasture and Crescent, like in off North Kensington and all that shit in Delta Oaks area." And he goes, "I live off Franklin by campus, or I used to."
Nice.
Like, that's fucking crazy. Like in Cottleville, Missouri, like the tiniest little piece of shit town in the world, and I could find someone that lived 20 minutes away from where I grew up.
Wow.
This is what you do when you're in suburbia. You find people like this.
And I'm drinking a Breakside Wanderlust IPA.
Wow. Bomber
Yeah,
bottle.
there's-
My preferred method of or vessel of drinkage is a bomber bottle. I like that the
Yeah.
most.
I had one of those 19.2 ounce cans last night when I was watching the race because we had done some hiking, some fairly extreme hiking, and I was like, I'm having a fucking beer when we get home.
Stopping at the gas station on the way home.
Yeah. Well, we had to stop at the grocery store, and it was the slowest stroll through the grocery store of just like, okay, frozen pizza, fine. Yep. All right, sandwich stuff. Just shit that's easy. I'm tired. Let's go home.
So let's get to it. We're talking about the Hungarian Grand Prix. This is round, as Dave told us, 13. And it is the last race before the dreaded dun summer break. Where we have, was it 4 weeks this time?
Yeah, I believe it's
I
about a
think the
month.
next race is till Labor Day weekend.
God. So let's get right to it. We got a lot to talk about. We want to talk about qualifying. If you are in the know, then you know why. We're going to talk about the race. Then we're going to hit on some interesting news that came out that I'm sure everyone that's tied to the Formula One world already knows. But hey, we're going to give you our take on it. So here we go. Let's go ahead and jump right into it and talk about qualifying. Well, Dave, you watched practices. I didn't watch the practices. I didn't have time. Was there anything interesting in the practices?
Nothing spectacular happened really in practice that I remember. It was kind of just dull. I mean, other than they practice in the wet a little bit.
Yeah.
It was hotter and shit the first day, so other than climate change and nothing really spectacular happened.
Well, you texted us something about like some funny audio during FP1 or something like that.
FP1, yeah, some team radio popped up out of nowhere. It was, you just hear "Bloop," and it was Checo sneezing into the team radio. And then he said something about the allergies here always get me or something like that. Anyway,
can you imagine you're in the race and you just spray on your fucking
Oh
visor?
God, yeah, and you can't like rip it away or
You can't
anything.
rip it away. It's like in the pit, you have to like pop the thing open and whoop it with your finger.
Yeah, which might just smear it, and make it worse.
So everything's blurry. Everything's like that one HBO channel you could barely get into when you were 13 years old. It's just that quality of racing.
Yeah.
Then after that, they kept talking about like who was it, Martin and a couple of the other drivers, ex-drivers that they have announced, and we're talking about how I've never sneezed ever once in a race car. Everybody's
All
like,
right.
me neither. It's like our
Weird
body
flex,
just
but
turns
okay.
it off. Yeah, that's awesome.
So
Never
Checo,
ever have I ever sneezed in a race car before. Okay, well, fuck
Yeah.
you, dude.
Checo's just so cool behind the wheel, he can relax and sneeze.
If
Yeah.
Tyler was a race car driver, you hear like the boop, it'd be like, "Bout."
Oh yeah, I
And then the car's acting weird.
Fucking, I would definitely sneeze a lot.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Make that noise you make sometimes.
What noise was that?
You sneeze and you're like, achoo. Kind of like butt getting
Yeah,
run over by a
probably
steamroller.
a couple of those.
So
Or if I see a crash happening in front of me,
if there's like an animal on the track, you just hear like, but not on the radio. You just hear that because you're screaming so loud in your helmet. We put this up with a parabolic.
yeah, I'm coming through pair. Something like going off.
It's a fucking armadillo on the track.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
All right, well, moving on, we qualifying, which was hot. It was hot qualifier, and we had a new face. Well, so what happened to Checo? Because Checo did not qualify very well.
I don't know. I honestly did not watch qualifying. So
Well, neither.
sorry.
I don't know if he had engine issues or anything like that, but he just had a poor performance overall. Like I know one of his laps were deleted, but then reinstated after they
Because
rewatched it. And,
he almost got off of
I mean, it was
the
close, but I
track.
think he stayed
very
on the line,
close, like
so.
by a millimeter, I think.
But
So
yeah, they reinstated that
Checo
time.
qualified 11th, and then Verstappen qualified 10th.
He had some kind of an issue with his car.
It was an MGKU failure for him. That's what caused his.
which is the magic unit. What is that?
Yeah, it's a magical university unit. It creates other little magical degrees, and it causes you to go vroom around the screechies. So but since those two plummeted so hard, it really opened the door. And this was the first time that Perez has not been in Q3 since he was with a different team. So it's been a very
Really?
long time. But it opened the door for G. Russ to get his first pole.
Well, at first it
Hey.
was Ferrari had locked out the front row.
Yeah,
and
they
then
did.
George Russell came in out of nowhere and stole pole position.
Yeah, on
Right
a really
after
slow looking
Sainz,
lap, which
yeah.
is fucking crazy.
Ferrari was able to open the door. They just don't know what to do once it's open.
No, they really don't.
Sorry, foreshadowing.
So yeah, and then so we're really happy for George Russell. It's kind of fun to see new people in the front. And he was the
150th pole sitter.
Yes, he was the 150th pole sitter.
Or was it the 105th? No, it was the 150th. No.
It was 105th because I remember thinking to
Yeah.
myself, I wonder who the 100th was.
Yeah.
So yeah, G Russ is on the top, and then we had race day on Sunday, and race day was really cold.
It was
Yeah, it was. I think they said the temperature was around 65, 66 degrees. The track temperature was only 80 degrees, which is fucking frigid for a racetrack.
Yeah, especially when 80 degrees was the air temp on
Yeah.
the day before or whatever.
Rough.
Sorry, I said MG. It's MGUK. That's what Verstappen had. I think I said MGKU. It's MGUK. For all the people screaming at me, the 4 people that listen to our podcast. We're 3 of them. We're 3 of them. Yeah, then you had Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, and Lando Norris for your first 2 rows. And I think Esteban Ocon had his best qualifying in 5th, but I don't quote me on that. Lights out and away we go. So first off, I think like during the formation lap, it was kind of funny because George Russell got like 30 seconds ahead of Latifi. And like Latifi is passing turn 3 as he was passing turn 13.
Well,
And
the Red Bulls started the formation lap very slowly. Like they were
did.
waiting around.
I think they were trying to ice the kicker, but I also think that George Russell got a little excited because he's on pole and was kind of driving a little quick.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But so Yeah, lights out and away we go. And yeah, it was
It was a good start by everybody up front.
it was a really
Yeah.
good start by everyone up front. Akon almost ran his teammate into the wall, and we didn't spin out in the first turn and wreck everybody. So that was a great. We are
Yeah.
doing much better
Yeah.
than we are last year.
Admittedly, was holding my breath for that part because
Oh yeah,
you know,
because
of
last year
how
Botaz bowling.
fucking
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I noticed that Max started like real carefully. You know, he
Mhm.
didn't
Yeah,
like
he was not.
Yeah.
Yep, he was very
Yeah.
cautious. He was racing like a man who wants to keep his points.
exactly.
He does not want his father to throw a tent into the van.
Yeah, at least it's a closer walk for him to go home if he does, you know, if he gets left at a gas station again. But
Becoming a bus driver.
yeah, Jesus. So yeah, first couple laps it looked like George Russell was pretty comfortable ahead. And the Ferraris, I mean, I'm not gonna say comfortable, like he was definitely ahead, but you could see the Ferraris were really, they had a lot of grip and they were going for it.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were really going for it. They were doing really well on that medium tire.
So they were keeping a lot of pressure on Russell up front for sure. I think the gap only got as big as maybe a second and a half, 2 seconds, but then they started closing it.
Yeah, something like that. And then one thing that I wanted to bring up is the DRS for Hungary's done a little differently than some tracks. Normally, every zone has its own detection, but what we saw in the race, lap after lap after lap, is someone getting past someone and then still having DRS before the zone. And that's because there's only one detection zone for both DRS zones.
It's a little odd.
Interesting.
Yeah. So when you pass that zone, you have it for the first stint and the second.
Yeah, I thought that was odd that that the second DRS zone is right after the first one. Why wouldn't they put it on like the back straight or something?
I don't know. It's just the way they designed it. I think this track is extremely hard to pass on, so I think they're trying to give people every opportunity they possibly can to get around motherfuckers.
Oh, I saw some
Yeah.
passing in this race.
Well, we did.
I did see some passing too, but I also thought it was like from people just getting around like back markers or people that were
Yeah.
destined to get past at some point anyway, you know.
One other thing I wanted to bring up that I just saw in my notes was we talked about the virtual safety car last time, and we weren't sure about a couple of things, and one thing was like how fast do you go under a virtual safety car, and it is 40% of the full pace. So whatever your full pace is, you have to run 40% less than that. Now, by the end of the lap, you have to be 40%.
You raced at 40% of that, not 40% less.
Yeah, that's what I meant. 40% of that, not 40% less.
Okay.
So you have to end at 40%. Now you can race at a race pace of 50 or 60%, but then turn it down to 20, which we saw George Russell do last race and this one on one of the restarts. Just as long as you end in that delta.
Yeah.
In your delta.
In the delta.
Yeah. So that is the thing about the virtual safety car that we had to, point out. So the race itself was pretty fucking exciting for being I mean, there was a lot of passing, even though it's like a low pass circuit. People were making moves and moving up the grid. Like,
what do they call it? The
Verstappen.
Monaco without rails or whatever.
Yeah,
Without
something like
guardrails.
that. They say it's like Monaco's like the number one, like shittiest place to even think about passing everyone, but it can be done. And then this place is the second most shittiest to pass anyone.
They compared it
thought
to
the
like a
French GP
karting track.
What about like
Yeah.
French GP? I thought that was or what is
It's
the
just-
name of the racetrack?
Paul Ricard.
Wasn't Paul Ricard also like a place where it was really hard to pass people?
Yeah, it is, but not like the Hungaroring.
Yeah. again, if there's tracks that we gotta axe in order, to
And
keep
you're gone.
spawn-
I can't hear you at all.
me.
I gotcha. Keep going.
So when again the Hungaroring will chalk it up to the list of racetracks we're willing to get rid of as long as they keep Spa.
Yeah, yes,
Oh, yeah,
I agree with that.
absolutely.
I do love the name of the track though.
Hungaroring.
It's
Yeah,
just
that's kinda
fun to
cool.
say.
Yeah.
It sounds like an orangutan that's part of a zoo in 1930. The Great Hungaroring, and then he's like this comes out and he's spinning plates on his fucking weird fingers.
Yeah, it's smoke cigarettes and shit.
That's all he does, smoke cigarettes.
Just
The amazing Hungaroring can go through 3 packs a day. He's got like
Oh, the amazing Hungaroring is able to light cigarettes off of other cigarettes.
he's got one between all of his fucking monkey
Yeah.
digits.
It's
Sorry,
a time
ape.
to call
Is that an
monkey
ape?
fucking.
it's an ape.
Ape digits.
It's his ape digits.
I think he only has 8 digits. I think they have less fingers. And maybe they don't. I don't know.
No, they've got 5. They got 10 fingers. 5 on each hand.
Anyway,
They don't have pincers.
So
They can if they did this like I do.
yeah, nice.
Jesus Christ, Dave.
Yeah, sorry, I got
Have
the
some Tums. People are listening to this with earbuds.
Yeah.
You're burping on their brain right now.
my bad, everyone.
So where were we?
Sorry,
you were talking about the name.
The Hungaroring, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you were saying it was a hard pass to track on, but some passing did happen.
Hard pass to track on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The Hungaroring also kind of sounds like a tapeworm you don't want to get. Like you,
Yeah, no.
you wore bare feet in a bathroom in New Delhi, and now you have the Hungaroring worm. It's just
Yeah. Yeah, they amputate your feet.
yeah, both of your feet.
Yeah. They used to call it Nubs disease, but
What happened to old Billy over there? He ain't
Oh,
plowing
Bill-
his field.
Billy got Nubs. Got Nubs disease.
No shit. He got nubs, huh?
Mhm. Went
I
on
heard
that
them-
New Delhi trip and went to the
Mhm.
washroom without his shoes on.
Barefoot in the washroom will get you every time.
Mhm.
I heard they got a new name for it now.
Mhm.
Hungaro ringworm.
That's what they call it. That's what I read in the science papers.
I hear that sometimes it'll pop out of your left foot and burrow into your right foot, causing a chain between feet. And if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna trip if you try and run. The damn Hungaro rings tying your feet together. Good luck trying to put
Brutal.
on shoes after that.
Brutal disease.
Take a look at men.
Yep. They slip cowboy boots over his nubs.
He just falls forward. The shoe supports him leaning back, but not forward.
Oh shit.
One time we went on a ride with him. He didn't notice his boots had slipped off his nubs. And when we got to where we was going, he could only walk in the mud comfortably.
And people stared. It
They
was
did,
hard
yeah.
for him that day.
Mhm. He moved pretty quick sometimes it would get the suction would cause him to be incapacitated from the nub, and we'd have to dig him out. It was, made for slow going.
Wasn't a quick trip, but it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So, speaking of quick trips, fucking Verstappen made a pretty quick trip up the running order.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
It was a
Yeah.
combination of world-class driving, being cool, calm, and collected in good situations, and good strategy.
Very
I've
good
got nothing-
strategy.
I've got nothing
And,
to counter that.
And a very good car, man. They had a very good car that day. Both of them had very
Yeah.
good car that day.
Red Bull
Although-
beat out Ferrari even after he spun out.
Yeah. Leclerc
Yeah, and
retook
he
the
had-
league.
his clutch was overheating. And I was gonna say like that spin out and recovery was up there with like Vettel's spin out and recovery. But or no, Max had another really good slide. It was in Rio or the Brazilian Grand Prix in 2016, I think, something like that. He was still at Toro Rosso, and it was very smooth. He was coming out of that last turn into the straightaway, that like kind of long swooping turn. It just loses it and just drifts sideways and then just straightens out and takes off.
Yeah. Anyways, it was it's all stupid and dumb because Ferrari get themselves on a really good position.
Very good position.
After so this Russell started out on the softs, and though the DEG was pretty high, Leclerc,
he's scratching his beard.
I just like this looked like a half-ass like.
Oh no, I was I was scratching my.
Okay.
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
So he started off on the soft tires, and everyone else pretty much started off on the medium tires, which they thought was going to be the stronger race tire. And it kind of was. It's not the fastest one, but it's better than the hards, as we found out. And he was doing a really good job holding everyone off. But the Ferraris are just so fucking quick. And the other issue that a lot of drivers had is they had their car set up for a hot race, and it was a cold race. So it was a bit of a thing.
Yeah.
So like Verstappen, when they did like reconnaissance laps in the morning or something, like before they lined up on the grid, they were set up to run the hard tires, and they decided to go to the mediums, I think.
Yeah. They did. Yeah, they were like, yeah, these hard tires are for the birds. And we were right at the middle of the Pirelli spectrum, if you will. And there was a beautiful pass on lap 31. That's when there was like 2 or 3 times where Leclerc was right behind Russell, and Russell went to defend, and Leclerc just kept her straight and got right around her.
Yeah, so Russell did a good job for a number of laps of keeping Leclerc at bay, but it was a really good move and a little late braking with by Leclerc, and he ended up taking making a really good pass on that.
He made a really good pass. And we can also touch on, because I don't remember exactly when they happened because I was too busy yelling at my TV to take notes. But Ferrari's fucking abysmal pits. Like they brought Sainz in, and they fucked up his rear tire.
Yeah.
And then they brought Leclerc, and they put him back on the mediums, and I was like, what in the actual fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Because they brought him in, I think, a little early. And then they put them on the same fucking tire, and we know that you have to have 2 different sets of tires, 2 different types of tires in one race. So you knew that he was going to be coming in one more time. So why don't run him longer? He said the tires felt great. He was making great pace, and then they brought him in, put on mediums again. You go, so what? You're gonna run these for 50 fucking laps, and like the last 20 laps, you're gonna, get the softs on? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that. They didn't do that because they brought him in later. And this was after Alonso, who's a pretty good benchmark for shit because he's a great driver. He's got a car that's decently quick for the best of the rest. And he put on the hard tires and said, these tires are fucking dumb. I hate these tires. They're like driving with cement. It's fucking dumb. And so
what did Ferrari do?
Ferrari
was like, well, we'll try it.
Infinite wisdom decided, well, let's give them a try because our car's got better downforce and we can probably grip the shit more. And instead we saw something that I didn't think was possible in physics. Leclerc locking up with the tires and then not screeching or creating flat spots because they were super cold, they were super hot or hard, and they were super not going very fast.
Oh my God.
There's a couple of lockups where you just see the car, it looks like it's on skates, and he's like full locked this way, and he's completely understeer. That's how Verstappen got around him too. There's nothing he could do, and he's like, "This is the stupidest fucking thing," and it was so bad that after that happened, this was like I don't know, 15 laps to go or something like that. Matteo Benito got up out of his chair in pit lane entry and pit lane area and left and went to his trailer for what do they call that? A personal break,
a comfort break.
a comfort
Yeah,
break.
I saw that. He was just so like, they're like, well, yeah, we fucked this one up, so no sense in watching this. And even they were like, the guys,
He ended up coming back, by the way.
After he like went to his trailer and fucking
broke a
downed
bunch
an
of shit.
entire bottle of olive oil.
Yeah, I didn't see when he came back, but I heard like the announcers and they were just like, to be a fly on the wall during the Ferrari debrief. They're like, I'm sure it's going to be abrasive.
There's gonna be some people hit with phone books.
Yeah, who's their strategist? I mean, they need to get rid of this person.
I think it's Amber Heard because they keep shitting the bed.
But
I think that the Ferrari's gonna start treating the strategists like the USSR treated their cosmonauts in the space program. When they get fired or killed, they just erase them from memory and photos and shit.
Oh man, I whoever their strategist is, I really hope he enjoys this season in F1 because it's gonna be his or hers only one. Like,
if this is how they are fucking up their job, how easy is that job? You could just go, don't pit them right now. And
I'm a noob, but I could have made a better call than that.
This is
what are you doing?
And this is not Monday quarterbacking. This is literally the drivers telling us that his tires are fine. He has pace. He's driving faster than everyone else. And you go,
yeah, but we're Ferrari. You do it our way.
We're doing our way. We bring him in now.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not like, I mean, if you fuck strategy up every once in a while, like I get it, like you have a bad race, like you made a bad call, that's one thing. But like Ferrari has just been very consistently bad at strategy calls the last few races. Like it's been, just it's steady, like you can almost fucking count on it.
What was I telling you earlier, that they've been holding the gun and finger on the trigger pointed at their foot every fucking race?
Like I said at the start of the podcast, once they open a door, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think that also, like,
you know how to walk into the side of it.
It's almost like they're so stressed out about their pit stops that once they get a gap to pit stop in, they just shoot for it. It's like someone who's got that premature ejaculation, it's like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this chick, and then she like, brushes his leg and he shoots ropes in his pants. That's kind of like what Ferrari does with their pit thing. They're like, oh, we got 25 seconds. Let's go right now. Not let the gap build up. Everyone's going slower. Or like listening to their drivers and what they're saying about like these tires or what other teams are saying. Like, that everyone had set up for like hot weather on Saturday, and then you get to Sunday and like Red Bull made the switch to go to start on mediums. Yes.
So like that would be something that you would notice, right? Like you notice them switching tires, and then you have Fernando Alonso out there and he's complaining about the hard tires, and then Ferrari goes, I think we should do this, and no one in the field at that point was running hard tires.
Maybe that's the problem. They're just not paying attention to what anybody else is doing.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you wouldn't be. That's like,
I don't know. I mean, that's the only explanation. I mean, why would you throw those tires on when you've seen what everyone else is doing? I mean, if you're paying attention, better. Throw them on some softs.
Put them on some, because then if nothing else, that gets you the objective of switching tire types. If the softs don't do anything else, they're going to get you, they're going to be fast. They might not last as long, but they'll be fast. Maybe you can build a better gap and then go on to softs again.
Yeah.
Because I think that Ferrari had some extra new softs that they used after they pit Leclerc for the third fucking time. and then he started doing a lot better.
Yeah,
But at that point, it was
but
too
too
late.
late.
Yeah, because they pitted him with like 11 laps to go, and they're like, "Okay, well, you're like 45 seconds off the fucking winner." And so good luck.
Yeah, they're trying to do damage control at that point, which like it's. I just think it's a little late for Ferrari to be playing the fuck for that. Like, I really think that they had a really good opportunity at the start of the season to maybe have like a shot at winning the title with Leclerc, and I think that it's fucking gone.
Well,
It is gone.
I think that's gone, and I think the new fight's going to be between Red Bull and Mercedes come the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because the only way that they're going to win is if Ferrari do it perfect for the next 9 races, and that's not going to happen.
They didn't do it they did really well like the first 3 races
When everyone else was fucking up worse than them. That's the only reason.
Yeah,
they were doing
exactly.
so good.
Yeah, they did so well the first 3 races of the season with a new type of car that no one had used before. Ferrari's just like, we got this. And then when everyone else figured it out, Ferrari's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, like when their 2 closest competitors, Verstappen and Perez, didn't finish the first few races. And that's another fucking thing, is Ferrari is doing so bad that Red Bull has missed races and Ferrari is still behind them in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, by like 100 points. Yeah.
Like 100 points.
And it's almost, it'll be fucking close. I mean, Verstappen now, I mean, well, we'll get to the end of the race, but
Where we pretty much have already gotten there.
yeah. I mean, Verstappen won, and Mercedes didn't even, or Red Bull wasn't even on Ferrari, Jesus, wasn't even on the podium. And now Verstappen's 80 points ahead in the championship, and there's 9 races left.
There's
like
9 races.
And
Mercedes is on its way to beating Ferrari in the constructors.
Yeah,
Mercedes,
and when you got a team like when you got a team like Red Bull doing so well right now, even when they do fuck up, they somehow seem to find a way to get some points out of one of their drivers or pick it up the next race and double podium. And it's like they're a juggernaut right now, and for Ferrari to come back and even try to compete is going to be tall order.
Yeah. Speaking of coming back and go on.
I was gonna say, I mean, I was really excited to see like the Ferrari Red Bull like title fight go on. But seeing Mercedes come from being so shitty for most of the season is also exciting. And normally I wouldn't say that just because, like, I mean, we've all seen Hamilton win world champions. It's like, I mean,
yeah,
like we said before, it's exciting to see while we're watching. It's exciting to see in our lifetime. But I'm excited that if it's going to come down to a Mercedes Red Bull title fight, it's going to be with George Russell. Who's clearly like he's driving like the number 1 driver this season, except for when he got passed by Hamilton.
I was going to say, so
well, he did have more pace, I would say, when that did happen.
But yeah, speaking of like coming back, fucking Hamilton.
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Okay, go on. I won't interrupt you again.
No, I was just gonna say it was, Hamilton had the really good comeback, and I did enjoy seeing him pass Russell, because you could tell like these are all like world class, 18 out of 20 people on the grid really like earned their way to be there, were like really good drivers and stuff, and like their dads didn't buy their teams and shit. But you can tell like the difference in experience between Russell and Hamilton when Hamilton passed him and Russell had like a minor fuck up in the corner, and then Hamilton just breezed by him.
Right. Yeah. So Hamilton had one of the last 15 laps or so had a battle like we've never seen before, really, in that 6 cars were fighting for first place for a good chunk of time. And one of those 6 cars was motherfucking Lewis Hamilton. And I said this is going to happen last race. He's kind of breaking out of his little bum out depression shell of shitty Mercedes, and he's starting to look like Lewis Hamilton again. And I think this, even though he didn't get first place, I think this is going to boost his confidence. I would not be surprised to see another Hamilton Verstappen 1-2 at the next race we have,
It'd be
which is
interesting.
Belgium.
Wouldn't surprise me the way he's seemed to have become more one with his car lately.
Yeah. I mean, it was fucking ridiculous. Like I said, it was just like watching last season when Hamilton was for some reason being last place and he'd fight his way all the way back to number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Incredible.
Something else that happened that was kind of weird for this race or just racing in general was the retirement. It was like the last 5 laps, and Bottas retired due to a Ferrari power unit, which I fucking called. And
Yeah.
I think
Yep,
the
he
next
sure
one.
did.
Next one to do it is it's one of the Haas's, because one of those has not had a full power unit failure, and I think it's Magnussen. I think
sure?
he's next.
Is it? I thought he had already suffered a grid penalty for a power unit replacement. So
It might be Schumacher. I don't know, but they're the last one. And so we could not vote for driver of the day as Bottas because voting ended before he retired.
and before I
Aw.
watched
Yeah.
it, so I started about halfway through the race, probably.
Right. Well, with this new job, I can't wait to watch all the races live. So
Oh, you
Yay.
get you Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday.
Fucking A. So you'll definitely be able to watch Coda when I
Mhm.
come into town. Nice.
Yes. It's gonna happen.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had the Hungarian Grand Prix. That was it in a nutshell. I know we kind of breezed through it this time, but really a lot of the nuances stuff was kind of outshadowed by Ferraris just being Ferrari.
Yeah,
They're just
just-
doing Ferrari things.
I can
Yeah.
the way I've been let down, I think I can truly call myself the Fossey now.
Yeah, I think like I kind of laugh when I look back at all of the teams that I like in the different sports. And I don't follow a lot of sports like I follow Formula One, but I do have my favorite teams for those sports. And like there was a time in the 90s when they were all doing really fucking good.
Yeah.
And after like the mid 2000s, they started to not do very good forever. And the
Yeah.
Yankees are kind of doing all right, but I think they played all the shitty teams early in the season, but that's for a different podcast, a different time.
Let's just say they have been consistently disappointing at times.
Yes, all of the teams that I like. And I was really hoping this would be the year that Ferrari breaks that, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think the best we can hope for is third.
It's starting to look that way. I hate to say it, but it's starting to look like that.
You
You
can't.
guys are aiming for that more time in the tunnel next year, huh?
I guess so, but it's.
Will it help though? When it's just strategy that's fucking them up.
That's true. It's a good point. I don't think
They got a great car out there.
The fucked up thing is they've had shitty pitch strategy for so long, and they keep replacing team bosses. But do they replace the strategist too? Because why do we keep having this situation?
Yeah, no shit. Like you'd think that at a certain point you'd just learn from it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or make.
Well, I mean, you think under pressure from their fans and shit, they would address the problem.
I
But
think
they're not.
Yeah, they're not. I think one big thing is Ferrari's super, almost religiously trying to only pit when there's a gap. It's almost like they don't have the confidence in their drivers like Red Bull does for Verstappen or Mercedes for Hamilton to pit them in a shitty area and then get around the cars that they're faster than, especially if they're getting new tires.
Yeah, they have not tried. I don't think they've tried the undercut this year.
No, they did the
often or at
overcut,
all.
but not the undercut.
And that seems to be like where like Red Bull and Mercedes kind of shine when it comes to pit strategy, is they're willing to take that risk because they have the confidence in their drivers and they have a strategist who kind of is with it and kind of knows what they're doing.
Well, she
Right.
pulled out all the stops and fucking presented them with a great strategy this weekend.
Yeah.
That was Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm going to go ahead and round out your top 10. Finishing first is Verstappen. Again, it's only appropriate to finish first place when your number is number 1. And again, just like last time, synchronicity, number 2 is 44, which is how many 4s that Hamilton has in his fucking number. 3 is George Russell, followed by Sainz, followed by Perez, followed by the other Ferrari Leclerc. So sad, too bad. Norris, the other British driver, coming down in number 7. Alonso, the other Spaniard, coming in 8th. Ocon, his teammate, who's a little pushy, coming in 9th place. And to round out your top 10 is a Sebastian Vettel.
Vettel.
Sebastian Vettel.
The Vettel. And a lot of people finished a lap down, so there's a lot of 69s on this board, so that's nice.
Nice.
69s.
Nice.
Yeah, because the race ended at 70, and when they're doing the victory lap, they're not racing anymore. So officially,
They don't even get to finish
Alonso-
their 70th lap.
Alonso, Ocon, Vettel, Stroll, Gasly, Zhao Guanyu, Schumacher, Ricardo, Magnussen, Albon, and Latifi all had 69 laps. Sonoda had 68, and Bottas only had 65 because he didn't finish.
So
all cars up to 8th place got lapped.
So when they're on, if they got lapped and they're on lap 69, they got one more to go after checkered flag. It's like, all right, come on in.
Yeah,
Don't even bother finishing. Just come on in.
Pretty much, you can't finish because
You couldn't if you wanted to finish the race, you would have gone faster.
Yeah,
right, you should have gone faster. So that is your top 10 finishers in the Hungaroring. And now we're going to switch over to the news. All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot came out this week. Almost so much came out that I feel like some of the stuff that came out recently came out fucking forever ago. So real quick, I wanted to start off with the current driver standings right now. So Verstappen is number 1. He is currently at 258 points. Leclerc coming in number 2 at 178 points. Perez is right on Leclerc's heels at 173. Then you got George Russell behind him at 158. Sainz is right on the tail of Russell at 156. Then coming in 6th place is Hamilton, but look to see him move up that because he is really coming alive. Norris is 7th at 76. Ocon is 8th at 58. Then you have Bottas coming in 9th at 46. Alonso is down in 10th at 41. Then you have Magnussen at 22, Ricardo 19, Gasly 16, Vettel 16. So they're for some reason that has Gasly ahead, and I think that's because he achieved that pointage before Vettel. Because in Formula One, there's no ties. It's whoever achieved that is better. So, for example, if you were in qualifying and you qualified 2nd place and someone else came into the exact same time, it's going to go to the guy that already got there first. So moving on, Schumacher. What?
Oh, I was gonna say, or when you're talking about 7-time world champions, you think of Michael Schumacher until Lewis Hamilton gets 8.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Like I've seen, I should think of Hamilton first, but I always think of Schumacher first. Is like, who's got the most world titles? Schumacher and Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then if Hamilton's able to do it, then it'll be like, all right, who's got 8 world champions? You're like, Hamilton. It's like, all right, who has 7? Schumacher, obviously.
Schumacher.
Yeah.
Speaking of Schumachers, he's in 15th with 12 points. Sonoda in 16th with 11. Then Zhao Guanyu getting 5 points, which a lot of that came from the first 2 races. Stroll in 18th at 4. Albon number 19 at 3. And then you have Latifi at 20 with, you want to guess how many points is in between 0 and 3?
Bagel.
Yep. You got a big old fat nothing.
How many points did Stroll have again?
Stroll has 4. I'm pretty sure they're all 4 10th-place finishes.
Probably. Yeah.
Hulkenberg has 0. He's on there, of course, because he was racing for Seb Vettel for more than 1 race. So whenever there's a replacement driver, if they've only done 1 race, they do not include them in the standings. However, he did like 3 or 4. So
I think it was the first two or three races he raced
2 or 3.
because Seb had COVID or whatever.
Yep, COVID got the Seb. So moving over to the team, this list will be shorter, obviously, by half. Red Bull's way out ahead at 431 points. Ferrari's trailing them by just under 100 points at 334. Mercedes is in third place with 304, right on the tail of Ferrari. Alpine is very, very far back. So you have the top three, and then you have the best of the rest because Alpine Renault has 99 points. So
Yeah, that's a big gap.
I don't think that they're going to make it
No.
into the top. McLaren Mercedes is 95. It's McLaren. Alfa Romeo is 51. Haas. So what they do is they when it's the official team names, they'll put the name and then they'll put the engine supplier. And so if like Ferrari supplies its own engines and so does Mercedes, so they don't do that. However, Alpine is supplied by Renault, so it's Alpine Renault, Mercedes, McLaren, that kind of shit. Alfa Romeo Ferrari set sixth place with 51. Haas is at seventh with 34. Then you have AlphaTauri at 20 with in eighth place with 27 points. Austin Martin is in ninth with 20 points, and Williams is on the board in 10th with 3 points. All thanks to Albon because Latifi ain't doing nothing.
I cannot get over the gap between Mercedes and Alpine.
I know. That's a
my
big
Jesus
split.
Third place is 304 points, and fourth place has not broken 100 points
in 13 races. So it's looking like Alpine and McLaren are going to have a lot of time in the simulator.
Who's been on the podium this whole fucking season?
The next dive after that, I know you've just gone over this, but it's like McLaren Mercedes is at 95, and then Alfa Romeo dumps to 51 points. It's
Has
like
any of the
an exponential graph, like it just it's fucking insane.
Has any of the best of the rest teams this season gotten onto the podium? Is it only been Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari?
I don't know. I'll have to find that out. I don't.
Alonso was on the podium once, wasn't he? So didn't an Alpine get on there?
I don't think so.
I just got
Alonso.
I just got something. Wait, I'm getting new information from my wife on the other side of the room. She said Alonso got on the podium once. I'm thinking he might have, or no, he did start on pole.
I thought he got pole position one race, but I don't think.
But I think Verstappen kind of overtook. That was that wet race in. Where was that?
I'm looking it up right now. Oh, Norris got third place.
Norris got third.
Imola. Other than that,
I think it might have been the Alonso pole. We might have been thinking about.
Yeah, might have been thinking.
Because as soon as you said that, I was thinking.
Yeah. Other than that, it's always a Ferrari, a Red Bull, and or a Mercedes.
Because Russell's had a couple to 3, maybe 4 podiums.
Yeah, the only other person to podium that's not a Ferrari or a Mercedes or Red Bull is Lando Norris.
When did he have his podium?
It was at the Italian Grand Prix at Imola. I keep wanting to say Imola, but it's Imola.
But it was last year, though, right?
No, it was this year.
Oh no shit.
It's not Monza, it's Imola.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's get on to the big news. There's a lot of big news to happen.
Sebastian Vettel has his Instagram now.
Yeah, he's got a great Instagram. And
that's the big news.
Yeah, the first thing he posted on Instagram wasn't hello, wasn't hi, wasn't a picture of his car. It was him announcing his retirement. So you had a lot of fans that were like, "Yay, Vettel!" And it's like, I'm Vettel. I'm retiring from racing. I don't want to race anymore.
And as of right now, Sebastian Vettel has 2.1 million followers. He does not follow anyone, and he only has 2 posts on there. And it's his retirement video, where one is in German and the other one is in English.
I bet that there is no other posts that happen on that.
I don't think he's ever going to post.
I think he deactivated it or not deactivated, obviously, but like he kind of put a stop to it. That was just it.
Yeah,
He's got his Vettel official, which is, I guess, what he has a person that handles his putting up social medias on Instagrams and shit.
Yeah. All the big people have someone like that. But yeah, so Vettel is officially retiring from
sad face.
F1.
My dog's whining at me. Yeah, he's officially retiring from F1. I think his contract was up at the end of the year, and Aston Martin really desperately wanted to keep him. When they came into this, Lawrence Stroll was really looking for something to blow the brand up, and having a very successful driver such as Vettel, who's a 4-time world champion with Red Bull, really helped with that. It helped legitimize this.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
So I didn't see them coming in this year or whatever as like Lawrence Stroll's team. They came in as like Aston Martin, a new like a car brand I recognize, and so it did seem legit, especially with Vettel as the number 2 driver somehow.
Right.
I bet that's why he wanted to retire. He's like, I'm second fiddle to Lance Stroll.
Right.
I'm done.
Well, like he even said it, I think it was I sent you something. He's like, it said he from the beginning he knew he was the second driver, and he wanted to spend more time with his family and not with the Stroll family.
So yeah, go on.
Sorry.
No, you go.
No, what I'm excited for is like, he's not going to be obviously he won't be a full-time racing driver, but I'm willing to bet that if somebody's sick, he steps in for a race like Hulkenberg did. Or like cool. Red Bull does such cool shit with all their F1 cars after the fact. Like, and I bet that he'll end up doing something for Red Bull in some video somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, see, I kind of disagree with that, because he's been really like pro environment and all this stuff. And he even said last year, he's like, I feel like I'm a bit of a hypocrite telling people that they need to, pay attention to the environment and do climate change. And here I am being a race car driver. So I think because of that, and it's not very well known, but he is like really close to his family. There's almost no social media presence of his wife or his kids. So I would not be surprised if he just quietly kind of just disappears, and then he shows up maybe in a garage every once in a while. I think he'll be involved with the sport, but more so mentoring Mick than actively racing or being like a Helmut Marko or something like that.
I think we might see him.
It would be cool to see him rip around in that old Red Bull racing. What was it, the 12 or the 13, whatever he got his last world championship on. It'd be cool to watch him rip around that track and that thing again, but I don't know if it'll happen.
Or doing like some exhibition shit, or I don't know, something like that. I'm willing to bet that he's still involved somehow, but I don't think that it's going to be like, not to the extent of like Nico Rosberg, who's doing like commentating stuff. I think, and it'd probably be at least a year before anyone hears from him. I bet he just disappears altogether for a while.
Yeah, I bet he takes time off, but I do see him coming back as like, because he's so good with the fans and whatnot. I bet you he would come back in that limited kind of Nico Rosberg, just kind of every once in a while, pulling a little side commentary and stuff. And
or you'll definitely,
because like, what was it? Was it this last race, or maybe the race before when they talked to Nico Rosberg? He wasn't even fucking there.
This race before, yeah, they got him on Zoom or something. All right, so the next big news story that came out that I don't think we touched on at all last podcast. I think it came out like the day after we recorded, which always happens. Some secret details have been discovered about the Porsche Red Bull merger.
More deets. Love me
Like
some deets.
how much Porsche is purchasing of Red Bull.
Ooh, I'm interested to hear
What?
this.
How much are they purchasing?
50%.
Oh, wow.
Holy
That's
shit.
a big chunk of
50% Porsche will own of Red Bull's Formula One division in their motorsport empire.
so it will be like a Porsche
Holy-
Ferrari or Porsche Red Bull or Red Bull Porsche car.
It'll be, yeah, one of those two. And I don't remember if it's like 49.9 and 50.1.
Someone's got
Either
a
way.
little bit more.
Someone's got a little bit more say, but it's gonna leave Red Bull up to developing everything that's not powertrain related, and Porsche will be developing everything that is powertrain related.
Holy shit.
It
So
sounds
you're
like
gonna
a,
be getting
a
Porsche.
big experiment.
It sounds like it could be a really good fucking get. You want to talk about making a team untouchable? Porsche's got a long history of doing really well in motorsports, and they build 6-cylinder engines for fun.
That's true.
I bet Mercedes
6-cylinder turbo
is
hybrids.
so
Although-
pissed about sorry, Dave. I'm so pissed about like they're like the German team and like we took the fight to Red Bull. Hell yeah. And like Mercedes were the only like big F1 German team. And then you have like Porsche's just like
We here.
And we get to it, but
Yeah.
Audi might be doing the same thing.
Well,
all right, but I did cut Dave off. Dave, what were you saying?
Well, I was just going to say one big question. I guess what that is. I guess when are they coming? Is it going to be with the
It's
new regulations?
Gonna
in
be with the
2026?
new 2026 regs.
So that
Yeah.
may bring about new engines with these new
Mhm.
regulations, which means the 6-cylinder. What else does Porsche make? They know how to do an 8, they know how to do a 10 or 12.
I don't think they're gonna be a 6-cylinder. It's gonna be a 6-cylinder engine. I think what they're
You think
doing
so?
is they're dropping
Okay.
some of the MGU units
Yes.
to make
they
them a
are
little different.
dropping there's the MGUK, which
Which
is
is what fucked up on Verstappen's car this time.
and then there's the
What-
MGU something else.
What are those? Are those power harvesting batteries and all that shit they use?
Yes, and I
Yeah.
think they're ditching the power harvesting. They're ditching one of them, which is like just complex. And it breaks often. And it's the MG. There's the MGUK, and then there's the MGU something else. I don't know what that one is off the top of my head, and I can't quite remember which of the two they're getting rid of. I know we had covered that in a previous podcast. But yeah, so it should simplify the engine design and make it like cheaper, like less expensive to manufacture.
More approachable.
Gotcha. Are they still good? Because these are like what the most efficient engines like ever produced. Are they still going to be running at that kind of efficiency or?
Oh yeah, they wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't gonna be efficient.
Okay.
And
Well, that's
it's a
interesting.
different
I
fuel.
can't wait to see what develops with that partnership.
They're going to be using a different kind of fuel too. It's like I think the 2025 cars have to be on like 100% bio sustainable fuel or some shit like that.
Mhm.
It's it's funny. It's not like even the cars that I'm worried about. It's all the transport to get the cars where they got to go each week.
Yeah,
That's the
for sure.
problem.
Hey, like,
they-
are these cars run off of bioethanol? They get
Yeah.
on like a fucking airplane and then
And
a semi
diesel
truck
trucks.
drives them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was one of the photos they released as a mock-up. I know it's on my phone and it's fucking awful. Here, let me try
Yeah, there's
something real quick.
there's some pretty serious glare on that.
Let me try that.
I see my face. Oh, that looks pretty dope.
Wow. I bet you see those Porsche stickers next season though.
Yeah. And so there's also going to be like I said, the Porsche coat of arms is going to be on the nose, they think. So
Yeah, I think so. It should. It looks so dope.
yeah, it looks really
So,
dope on the nose right there.
Leave the bowls where they're at and keep that fucking and put the Porsche emblem right there in the front. And
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so so excited to see like a like Red Bull liveried out Porsche
Mhm.
GTRS 3 or something.
Right.
That would look so good.
Well,
So,
it'll be
yeah.
interesting to see what develops out of that partnership for sure.
We're pretty excited. This is pretty big. This is like one of the biggest things that has happened. I mean, it was big when Red Bull started using Honda, and Honda was getting back in the sport.
Yeah,
But Honda was already, and Porsche was already in the sport, but it's been a lot longer since Honda has been in the, or Porsche has been in the sport. So it's like, it's new, it's exciting, it's fun. Oh my God.
new sponsors, new names on the track,
Sponsors, yes.
new
Yeah.
liveries, new all the good stuff.
Other big news, and this is on the level of Vettel. That's kind of fun to say.
On the
Is
level of battle.
the future of Fernando Alonso? I mean, that
Yeah,
dude is turning 41 this year, and he is now racing for a new team.
Yeah,
He's-
he just turned 41 after I turned 40 the day after.
Yeah, and he just signed up for Austin Martin to be racing with them. I think it's on a 2 or 3 year contract.
Yeah,
So you might be asking yourself, why the move? Why Austin Martin? And in reading this news story, it gave me a clue as to how Audi might end up in the sport. So,
can't wait to hear this.
first off, Alonso has been with Mercedes, or not Mercedes, has been with McLaren. Jesus Christ. Renault in some form. This is his 4th time in his career. Like, he's gone. I think he started there, left, went back, left, whatever the fuck. He wants a longer contract because he's old, but he's not done.
Yeah.
And with Vettel gone, the old school drivers on the track right now are Alonso and Hamilton. As weird as that is to say that Hamilton's an old school driver, he is
Yeah.
right up there. But
He's the oldest guy on the track besides Alonso.
yeah. And so Alpine wasn't going to give it to him. They kept wanting to do 1-year contracts with him, and he's like, that's, too much uncertainty. I don't like that. He also goes way back with Lawrence Stroll. They have been friends for a while, I guess. And when Lawrence, it's rumored that, or it's said that when Lawrence heard that, so Vettel said he wasn't gonna, he was thinking about not going, but he made the official announcement on Wednesday to Lawrence. And Wednesday night he called Alonso, and Alonso said, "Fuck you guys, I'm going to Austin Martin." So that's going to be an interesting dynamic because he's not going to, Lance Stroll's not going to have the German grandfather type, with him on the track. He's going to have the Spaniard passion around the track. He's going to get the finger wave a couple times, and a little bit of the slap on the back of the face.
Maybe
So-
that's what Lawrence is trying to do, is pull in a little more discipline for his son, because he's not going to do it.
He might be doing that. He's
Have
also
maybe a teammate that'll put him in his place a little bit.
for sure, and that's why you usually get a more experienced driver with a newer driver. That's why when Lance and I think it was Ocon were together, or no, that's why when Schumacher and the Russian guy we don't talk about anymore,
Mazepin?
Mazepin.
Major spin. While they were so shitty together, well, they had a shitty car, but you had 2 rooks together. That don't work. So it also gives you brand recognition, which is what a new Formula One team desperately needs.
They need that
a classic name in.
Somebody bring some money in.
Yeah, you saw with Lotus when Lotus came back for a couple of years. They brought Kimi Räikkönen out of his first retirement. That was a huge get.
Mhm.
So that's it. It's going to happen. I mean, at the end of the season, they're going to be refitting it for Alonso. Now, the other reason Alonso is leaving is because Alpine is getting less and less interested in Formula One, and they want to pursue sports cars more and more and more.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Yes.
Is that an exit for an Alton F1? Or just Alpine?
Well, that could be an exit for Alpine, and who's chomping at the bits to buy into the sport but Audi. This could be
and
the big get for Audi to get in.
Fucking,
Would be a big get.
Andretti.
Or Andretti. I think Audi more than Andretti would be ready to jump on this opportunity, but I wouldn't be mad about either one. And it'd be kind of fun to have 3 different German cars competing for the F1 championship. I don't think that's ever happened before. So you might be asking yourself about that little reserve driver that Alpine has, Piastri. not the guy that killed his girlfriend with the blades in South Africa. We're talking about so they were getting ready to lose him because he was promised a
Made my
spot.
head itch.
He was promised a spot in an F1 race by 2023, and they haven't given it to him yet. And they were going to loan him out to another team next year, depending on who was retiring and all that stuff. But now there's a spot for him on Alpine, and they have a semi-season driver with Ocon. So we could be seeing Piastri take the seat, but it has not officially been announced yet. But because
I'm sure that's coming sometime in the break.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It'll happen during the break. And I also think that we're going to be hearing a little bit more about this whole Audi situation, because I really think that because Audi was looking for teams to jump into. Yeah. And I don't remember the team I talked about the first time I brought this up, but I remember I talked about it at length. And no matter what I said, I think now the best opportunity is going to be Alpine. I might have already said it was going to be Alpine. No, I said it was Alfa Romeo, because Alfa Romeo is thinking about jumping out of the sport. Now they're
just
do
a
that.
brand. They're just there for the sponsorship.
They've already got their return on investment, and if that happens, then Andretti will definitely be taking up this Alpine spot. So we could see by 2026, we could see 3 new teams on the grid.
Oh man, that'd
in
be
some
exciting.
aspect being Red Bull, Porsche, being Sauber, Audi, and then being Alpine Andretti, or just Andretti Racing.
That would be so exciting to see 3 new teams. Who would come up in like best of the rest? Who might take a fight for the championship spots?
Right.
Woo.
It's a big shakeup. Yeah, so those are some pretty big news blips that have come down the pipeline. Man, it's going to be kind of crazy.
Stuff to think about for next year, and how our team's going to react going forward for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
lots of. I was going to say some teams got to do a lot of catch up if they want to, get back into it.
Yeah, fucking some teams.
Some teams
have already run out of time to catch up. So
I'm really excited to see, even though we're on the break, how Mercedes or how Ferrari's going to drop the ball on pit strategy next week.
God damn it! I know.
I think we have to see Red Bull and Mercedes really start to struggle to see any hint of a Ferrari comeback.
They really just gotta fall on their fucking face. That's the only way it's gonna happen. Yeah. And with that, we'll go ahead and announce that we are now on the summer break. So if you're new to F1, you're new to this whole thing, this is the saddest part of the season. And they take about 4 weeks off. The drivers can rest, recuperate. They don't have to concentrate about racing shit, although some of them do. And this is the most boring part of besides the French Grand Prix, it's the most boring part of the season.
I was gonna say about drivers. I think what was it? Russell said he was gonna go back to training camp because he missed so much time training that he should have got throughout the season or something.
Yeah,
like 28 days behind or something.
Yeah, and he's race fit, but he's not fit. So
yeah, you want to be above and beyond if you want to be competitive.
Right. And I think he'll do that a lot. I think Leclerc's gonna go back and pound the sand, and I think Sainz is too. Hamilton's running on a high. I would not be surprised to see him really hitting the books, as they say. Someone who I think does really need to concentrate and train is the fucking strategist. Ferrari.
Yeah,
because
they really hit the books, as you would say.
It's getting to the point where all my optimism is slowly leaking out of the hole in my heart.
You know what sucks?
By the Ferrari strategist.
If you watch the fucking practices, you get your hopes up, and then by race day they fucking pull the rug out.
You know what it's like? You know what it is exactly like? It's exactly like what's on the Yankees.
Oh god.
Regular season practice, fucking amazing. Qualifying so good, looking great. When it counts, postseason, the race, fucking awful. Fucking terrible.
Who were we talking
Terry.
about?
Alex
A-Rod.
Rodriguez.
Oh, you
Mister, I
skipped
can
out
get
a
a
little bit
home.
when you said that. So
I can get a home run every game in the regular season, but the second the postseason starts sniffing around my ankles, I'm like a 2-year-old with a bat that's never played baseball before. Get the fuck out of here.
that's why nobody
And-
respects him as a ball player.
No one does. And that's what Ferrari strategist is like. When it counts, they can't do anything correctly. And when it doesn't count, they win.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they got some shit to work out. Definitely some internal things that need to go on in Ferrari over this break.
Mhm. And you know where we come back after the break, right?
Singapore.
Spa.
Oh, I thought it was Singapore.
Nope. It's Spa.
Mm.
I was way off. I'm gonna edit that out so I don't look like a doofus.
Singapore. So it's Spa. So what we have left in the season is Belgium, Netherlands, which is what the fuck is that racetrack called? It's Zavendort.
Yeah,
And that's got the
Zandvoort,
banked
yeah.
turns that no one's used to. So that's gonna be kind of fun. Then you have the other Italian Grand Prix, which is Monza. So
Monza, the Temple of Speed.
Temple Speed. Then you have Singapore, and then you have a track that I fucking love, and I just love this track. I've raced on so many games. I like this country a lot. I wish I could go. Always wanted to. The Japanese Grand Prix. So stoked to have him back. This is the only track on the calendar that crosses over itself. There's a bridge section that you go under. That's fucking
Yeah,
cool.
That is
I don't
pretty
care who
cool.
you are. That's pretty dope. And then we have
It's a tricky little turn to make too.
It's so yeah. The really fucked up one is it's toward it's in sector 3, and it's after a slight. I think it's left, a slight super long straight, slight left, small straight, and then a super duper fucking hard right. That's like suicide right. After that, we got the United States, which Dave and I all watched together. Then after that is Mexico, and then Brazil, and then on November 20th, the weekend of, it's the final race of the year, and that's at the Abu Dhabi.
You know, it's funny that race. I will be in the Florida Keys by then.
Oh, look at
Ooh.
you!
Hey, we'll actually have some new places for me to talk about when we during our season
nice.
of podcasting.
So Tyler, since you
excited.
were reading your shit the whole time, what was so important?
Oh, I was just looking. I was trying to pull up the F1 calendar so I could see
Oh.
the tracks that we were talking about. Sorry, but like when I pulled up like the F1 website, it was just showing me the results of all the races. Like I just want to see what this fucking schedule is.
So if
That's
you
why-
go to
that's why
2022
the app
races,
is
and then
really
you can
good.
scroll farther down from the highlighted
Yeah,
one.
I
and
figured it
shows
out
what's
and
left.
like through that whole fucking segment. But yeah, Abu Dhabi's gonna be good. That's always a fun track to watch. Mexico never disappoints.
I really like that
Brazil's
part
a-
in Mexico where the grandstands are split and the cars come through them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's fucking
stadium
cool.
section.
It is really
Yeah,
neat.
that's fucking cool.
I am really excited for Singapore. Singapore has not been on the tracks or on the calendar since 2019.
I was gonna say I
Um,
haven't seen that one yet live, so I'm excited for that one too.
And that's
That one is
that's
That's
the
a
one
street
on the-
course too, isn't it?
Yep.
Or at least under
And
lights.
it's a night race.
It's a night race because it's too hot in the daytime, and it looks like if you had Thor bend a lightsaber to be a racetrack, that's what it fucking looks like, because the city's mostly dark around the track. It's just regular city lights, but they have these fucking like
Those
trillion
big,
watt
like,
LED fuck them up daytime sunbeam lights, and it just looks fucking amazing from an
Yeah, it
aerial
looks
view.
like it's kind of like a video game, like some futuristic race video game
Mhm.
that takes place in like F1 3030 or some shit like
Right.
that.
Ooh, Deltron 3030.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for that one. And of course, the next race is Spa. Always excited for that one. That one's
Always love
fantastic.
Spa. En Rouge.
If anyone
Fingers
from
crossed
F1
for a
is listening
dry.
to us, please, for
dry
the
race
love
this
of
time.
God, just make another fucking A, dry race, and B, just a new fucking contract with them. Like you
Extend
cannot
it.
lose Spa. Extend it. You can't lose Spa. It's a
No.
can't
such
lose
an
Well,
awesome track.
It's got the iconic turn. It's got it's super long. I love how long it is.
I think it's the longest on the calendar.
It's
Yeah,
a good.
and
Yeah. What do they do? Like 40 something laps or something?
Something
Yeah.
stupid like that. Yeah.
And what I love is like, like at most of the racetracks, they're out somewhere like in the middle of a field, right? And then you can still see a few different parts of the track from where you're sitting. What I love about Spa is like they just carved it out like in the Ardennes forest, and it's just like, the middle of it, there's a fucking shitload of trees and stuff, and like you can't see like the other side of the track or anything.
Isn't this the one that also has like a little town that's like within the track limits and shit? Or is that
I think it's in Mola.
that's not a street course, but you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I thought there was a track that wasn't a street course, but somehow has like a town that
I thought it was
people
Imola.
live within the track.
Oh yeah, it's Amola. They have it on
okay,
the inside.
okay.
Sorry, I'm looking up some stuff real quick to talk about Spa.
So he was completely zoning us out, Tyler.
I was.
Can you
Yeah,
believe
exactly.
I kind of heard you. So so just to give you an idea of how long Spa is, so we can agree that Silverstone is a long track, right?
It's a good long racing track.
It's
yeah.
a good long racing track. It's about it is almost 6 kilometers in length, which is about 3.7 miles. Spa being the longest. Oh, and that the laps we had on that was 52. So that's a pretty long race.
Where was that at? Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
was
that's
that?
Silverstone.
Silverstone, yeah.
Silverstone.
Gotcha.
Spa is 7 kilometers, which is about 4 miles. And the number of laps we have on that is 44 because
I knew it was in
it's
the
a
40s.
fucking monster.
Yeah.
It has 19 turns, which is fucking crazy.
It's epic.
And the first Grand Prix at this track, I'm sure not in this current layout, although I think En Rouge was still there, was in 1950. And the lap record, which is also fucking crazy. So the lap record for Silverstone, which we're just using as a benchmark, like I said, 127 done in 2019 by Lewis Hamilton, 127.3. The lap record for Spa was done in 2018 by Valtteri Bottas, 146.2.
Jesus.
It is over 10 seconds longer
That's like
for
that's
an
like
F1 car to get around it.
that's like a third of a track for some, that extra
Mhm.
15 seconds. That's like a third of a track.
It's fucking crazy.
Well, maybe less, but
That is a hard tire track.
It is a super hard tire track. There's also a massive elevation change. I don't have that data
say is a lot of that on whatever that turn's called, All
on
Rouge.
Rouge. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of it. Yeah, that's
'Cause
the
that's like
uphill.
You go down and then up and sweep to the right
It's
and then back up to the
uphill and-
left. Yeah.
Man, if you want to question physics, if you want to have an
Yeah.
abstract thought that they don't actually exist, the closest thing to proof that physics don't exist is watching F1 cars go up on Rouge, because you're gonna
Yeah.
go. You're
Unless
going to
it's
look
in
at.
unless it's last year in the rain and you see
We're not talking about that.
Norris go
Yeah.
flying up.
God, I was so excited for that race.
Yeah, I was too.
Wasn't
Well,
it
it
the
was
year?
me and that was the year me and you watched, and it was
Yeah.
like, why is this thing like 3 hours long?
It was 4 hours long.
Oh, that's
and I was
right.
like, and I'm thinking to myself, that's a heavy rain delay. And then we're getting to it, and Dave and I are watching the replay, and it gets to the 2-hour mark, and they haven't started yet. And I just stopped it. I said, Dave, I have never in my life seen a heavy wet race last less than 2 hours. They're not racing. And sure as shit, they didn't. And Tyler had a fucking pork shoulder. Or was it a brisket?
I was a pork shoulder.
Pork
I
shoulder.
was like, my roommates at the time were getting into F1, and I was like, hey, this is a really cool track, and I want to use the smoker that I have. Like, I'll smoke a pork shoulder. Let's make a bunch of food. It was like Labor Day weekend. Like, we all have the next day off. Let's just, watch F1, suck down some drinks to have a good time. And then it was like
worst
oh,
race to
you
do it
called
on
me
on
and
the
then it was like, hey, I have bad news, guys. Like, we're not actually able to watch this fucking race today. So it was like, fortunately, it was like in the middle of football season. So like we could still do, watch sports or something, but it was
Yeah.
it's
No,
so
wait.
hard, like-
I think what Jake said. What did you say? You were like, no spoilers, but yeah, we're not racing today.
No, I
No.
called Tyler and I was like, look, and because our rule is no spoilers. And I said, I have to tell you this. He goes, no fucking spoilers. And I said, you don't understand. You need to hear this. I'm just going to tell you. He's like, okay, fuck you. Fine. What? I'm like, the race doesn't happen. He's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I don't want you to waste time. I don't want you to sit there and like have friends over and be like, this is your first F1 race. It's on the best track of the series. Check it out. And then to just have it get all fucking rained out, which is
and that's
exactly
what
that's
the fuck was gonna happen.
yeah. So I did. I called them up and I ruined it. So I checked it out real quick. The elevation change from lowest to highest part of the track is 340 feet almost.
That's
It's
pretty
just
good on a
shy of
fucking racing
340
track.
feet.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a lot. So it's funny, like when you are an F1 driver, you usually show up to the track on late Wednesday or early Thursday. And one of the first things you always do is drivers like to either ride bikes or they like to walk the track. And they'll walk the track with the strategists and they'll talk corners and stuff like that. And it's not just a walk around the track. They'll walk stops. So usually it takes a couple hours. This hill, though, you can tell like they always stop at the top because it's a big hill. And the down is a lot better, but it's fucking this track is so massive, it's fucking crazy. But there's a really funny thing when Ricardo was still at Renault, and I think was it with Hulkenberg, and they're sitting at like the top and they have like they have like a stereo and like they're roasting marshmallows or something.
No,
I
that
don't know.
was him and Max Verstappen when he was at Red Bull.
Oh, when they were at Red Bull, yeah.
They're sitting up there in lawn chairs.
Yeah, the lawn chairs.
Yeah.
Oh, you want this water? No, so you can't have it. It's mine.
Yeah.
That's why we love Ricardo.
We cannot lose Ricardo. Keep Ricardo, keep Spa.
That's why I thought maybe he would like go to Aston Martin maybe when Vettel left, but now that's gone. So would he go to Alpine or is that Piastri spot? What's he going to stay with McLaren?
So the like when he was at his lowest part of the season, Zach Brown was still firmly in Ricardo's court. So Ricardo's got, I think he's contracted to be with McLaren next year too.
Okay.
There's an early release clause, but it's only triggered by the driver. And Zach Brown was very much like Ricardo's our driver. We love him. We know he's having some shit time right now, but he's gonna pull out of it. And Ricardo was kind of the same way. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing too well right now. He hasn't really done too well or well at all, really.
He's shown signs, but hasn't
shown
really...
signs, but he hasn't done consistently well since he
Yeah.
left Red Bull, which was, as we see now, a mistake. But you got to do what you got to do. And he's just now starting to kind of scratch his way back up. And I think this is what Zach was hoping would happen with Ricardo. And I think because of that, McLaren, I don't think McLaren honestly is interested in losing Ricardo. I think they're happy with it. They're glad to have him. They're not happy with his performance, of course, because you could always do better. But they're glad that they have him. They like having him around. He and Lando have a good relationship. And I think that he'll have at least one more contract extension with McLaren.
I was gonna say, you said him and Lando have a good relationship. You wouldn't know that from watching Drive to Survive. So please listen to us.
Yeah,
Don't
listen to
watch Drive
us.
to
Don't
Survive.
watch Drive to Survive, but don't.
If you,
take
it'll
with a
get
grain
you
of salt.
into the sport, but
It'll
if you
get you into the sport.
Get what's really going on. You got to listen to us.
You got to listen to us because we got our ear to the ground. We're hearing the Buffalo show up. We know where they're at.
Say, well, they made Lando look like such a dick, and it's like
They really.
And
everything
I
else
think
I've
they
seen
did
from
not get
Lando
along.
is not that at all. So
Watch.
even Verstappen said something about that.
Well,
Like, they
that's
made
why
him look like
Verstappen's not on it anymore because
Yeah.
he says they blow shit out of proportion and they lie. So I would say if you want a general idea, not a detailed idea because details get skewed, a general idea of behind the scenes shit, watch Drive to Survive. If you want to see Gunter Steiner call people cunts, watch Drive to Survive.
Fuck.
If you want actual factual F1 stuff brought to you by like on a layman's term, not that your intelligence is that low, but ours is, watch us.
Yeah.
We'll bring it. We are the baby step into the sport.
And we'll give you
babiest of
some good
baby
info.
steps.
We might not
Yeah.
know what we're talking about. Well, we're gonna give you good solid info before we throw it out there.
Yeah.
Might
Put
be
it
a
this
little
way, like,
long-winded.
when we
Yeah,
say
there's
something was
those,
a 10
but-
second when we say something's a 10-second time penalty, we're just going to gloss over it like it's a 10-second time penalty. Drive to Survive, the 10-second time penalty for Hamilton was like 40 or 50 seconds.
It was
the way
like
they-
45 seconds
drug
long. Yeah, it was
that all
fucking
on.
ridiculous.
fucking just forever. Like, oh god.
Yeah, so of course they're gonna try to dramatize it as much as they can. They got to get viewers and ratings, and
Right.
drama makes people watch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we are not going to do our predictions for the next race because it's the summer break.
So far away.
And we want to do our predictions closer to the race happening, so it's fresh in your guys' mind, so you can tell us how wrong we are when we were wrong, which we were. Although I was
I
right
was
by
way
saying
wrong, yeah.
Bottas wasn't doing well. And I think I had my wild card having Russell win, but he got third, so that was pretty close.
So I don't think
Um,
any of my predictions came true at all.
That's all right. But so what we're gonna do in the meantime is during the summer break, everyone's off, but there's still plenty of scheming going on. I'm sure a lot more details are gonna come out between Audi and Porsche and Red Bull and all that stuff, and
I hear
driver
going up.
changes for next season.
Yeah.
I guarantee they're gonna announce Piastri being at Alpine or not.
Oh, sure.
Throughout this break. So we'll do that. And we're also going to throw in some casual deep dives on stuff that we think we need to talk about. We're not going to tell you what it is, but there's going to be an episode or two about a certain subject, and then maybe another one just to fill time,
Yep.
which is also what you could expect from us on the off season, because we ain't stopping this when the season's done.
The
'cause if you
train
remember-
is rolling.
The trains are rolling because we didn't start this when the season started. So
Yeah, that's true. We're like 4 weeks ahead of the season when we had our first episode.
something like that. Yeah. But yeah.
Which I
so
always say, if you don't want to listen to all the way back, you could probably start at like 4 or 5. I think they start getting good. So
Well, I like our first episode. It's our first episode. It was a deep dive on Austin Martin, which is like
we're very green.
we were very green. I did research and I spent like 4 hours of research. I typed a script out on Microsoft Notepad because I don't own Word, and it gets troublesome sometimes because they'll want to change something. So I'll put like the cursor line in there, and I'll hit space, and it just deletes the next letter, and I have to like retype out the next 6 lines. It's
So
just
on your screen, do you have like us and then like your notes and shit?
yeah, I do. So I have
I just have you guys
on
I'm
one
that
section, and
unprepared.
then over here I have the notes. And sometimes when I have multiple notes, with my big ass computer screen and my lackluster computer, because computers age out within months, I can do this cluster thing where I have one full screen over here, and I could have 5 or 6 tinier screens on this side. So I'll do that sometimes.
Gotcha. You always see them on the ball with your shit, looking
Man,
all
you
over your
should-
screen.
You should have seen me in here when I was watching the Miami GP, because I had the live race feed on my phone. I relogged into f1tv.com 2 more times, and I had one whole screen over here was what I have I had live feed over here. I had sector times over here, and I had the map. So
Yeah.
it was 1, 2, 3. I had the map of the track with the cars going around it, and
So-
Yeah.
my
Annie and I
ADD.
did that once. We watched the race and we had my iPad set up with just the track map and where all the racers were.
Right. So I had it set on Crofty and Brundle on my phone and on the computer. And I had my headphones in, and I had my speakers going, and I had my larger headphones like all divided. and I got to the point where my ADD kicked in, or maybe I took Adderall that day. I don't know, but I was trying to get all the audio synced up perfectly, and I got it perfectly, and it sounded fucking weird because I had audio from like my earbuds, my over wrapped out earphones, and my speakers, which are super loud, and it wasn't timed up on the screen. So then I had to like mute stuff and get it. So I got it to perfect where my audio was coming from the live feed of the race, which I
You
like.
have way much more patience than I have.
I don't know if it's
just put it
patience
on,
or
like,
if it's just
one,
psychosis. I don't
do
know
you
if
just
it's
need
patience or psychosis. It could be
one
both.
audio feed?
I
bit
did
of
that. I
both.
eventually did do that. But the thing is like the live audio feed's a little bit delayed from the sector times and the map.
Yeah.
So
dealt
I
with
was
that.
having to I had a map of the sector times up, and I was going, okay, this is happening, this is where sector 1 is. And I was watching when cars were timing on this screen on where they were, and then on this screen, which was the map, I would link those two together, and then I would know where to put the live feed because they would say I think I figured out that the dump button was about 15 seconds or something like that. So I'd wait 15 seconds and then I'd pause and pause and pause, and then it got to where it's fucking perfect for like the last half of the race. But it got there. It took me half a race to do it, but I got it done.
And
it
this,
was,
ladies and gentlemen, is why he's the leader of this podcast.
Yeah.
And we are just support
it.
banter and good. We'll provide when we can, but where else are you going to get this kind of coverage?
I
Yeah.
fucking got it done.
We're
So
going the
It
extra
wasn't-
mile for you, folks.
like there
Or
are
at least one of us
people-
is.
There are people out there that work for Red Bull, work for Ferrari and Mercedes, and they have assistants that do all this shit. I do it myself for myself.
Yeah.
But
Jake's
you
the
do
common
get
man
a-
for the common man.
Let's say you do get a above level race viewing experience when you do all that, I guess.
That is true. The only thing that can make it better is racing on the racetrack in the simulator while I listen to all this shit.
Or seeing Ferrari actually do good. That would help.
You're right. I would rather watch a race in 30 and see Ferrari get a 1-2 than fucking link
all
everything
that
up on.
and
Yeah,
see-
do all of that and have
We get just
multiple
let down.
screens and shit. So,
So
at any rate, this
So-
has been the Tire Preference Podcast. I think we're ready to close out now. We've been
Yeah.
jammering on for long enough, and
So I think we covered everything. We're gonna talk about what we did or we're gonna do over the break. Covered the race. I think we
covered the
nailed
news,
this week
covered-
down.
Yeah.
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 Talked about all kinds of stuff and learned people out.
And we will definitely bring you developments on that news because there's sure more to come over the break. So
Right. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, you can find us on YouTube, which is where you're finding us right now. We keep saying that, so my idea was that if I keep saying on the podcast that we're going to be hooked up to the streaming services, I would be pressured into doing it. And then what happens is I exit out of the podcast. Dave, Tyler, and I have a little debrief, and then I go fuck off, and I completely forget about everything I've said while I play video games to rot my mind.
all right, I'm gonna
So-
keep on you then.
Yeah, keep on
Yeah.
because we are doing this. We're going to get attached, and we're going to be streaming very soon. So you can find us on those, and we'll shout those out when we get it. But right now, all you can find us on is how you're listening to us right now on YouTube. The funny thing about it is I don't know like the translation, so I don't know if any of these episodes that I've been saying you can find us on YouTube will ever not be on YouTube, which is, I don't know, whatever. Fuck it.
Well,
But
yeah, it might be like sometime in the future when we can figure out how to put old backlogged episodes out
Right,
onto streaming
'cause
services.
data takes up, or a lot of these take
Well,
a lot of
a lot of
space on
those
the-
have already been deleted, so they only exist now.
Yeah, that's what I'm
on
saying.
YouTube. So
they take up a lot of space, they get deleted. So you can find the podcast on Twitter at the Preference Pod. You can find me on Instagram at the Red Kennedy 45. You can find me on Twitter at the Red Kennedy. I don't think I've been on Twitter in like 2 months, so take that.
Yeah,
I'll tell
get
you
on
what.
that. You're our admin.
I know. I gotta fucking. I'm just not used to it. Like I've never had Twitter before this, so I don't think like. Oh, like I'll jump on Instagram and be like, oh, scroll through a few shit things while I'm taking a shit. Never think about doing it on Twitter. You can find Tyler at
T.K.66 on Instagram, and that's about the only place I ever get onto. So,
all right.
you can go on there to see lackluster Instagram content.
Dave, where you at?
Dave, where you at? Dave's always at maximum_Dave at or whatever on Instagram. And I did just recently post some shit. Went on some hikes, did some fun stuff over the week while my family was in town. So there's some stuff up there you can look at. You can always find my wife and I's cool expeditions out in our country at Featuring Friday, also on Instagram. And that's all I got for shout outs.
You can find some of the old archived footage of Dave and I playing video games and drinking at Schnickel Fritz on YouTube, which is linked in our YouTube channel.
So yeah, you should be able to find it easy if you're into that kind of thing.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I always tell like new subscribers, like, hey, if you got some time to waste, I got a podcast I do with my friends. So if you got even more time to waste, go watch that shit with that done with Dave. And we might add some more stuff. We've been talking about it, but we don't ever do it.
Well, there's some technical aspects I gotta kind of beat around to figure out how to do it. But
all right, and so thanks again for listening to the Tire Preference Podcast. Again, I'm Jake, and I'm going to say keep within track limits. Don't get that black and white flag. This is not a ska concert. This is life.
And I'm going to go ahead and say hit the gas. Hit the gas like you are Max Verstappen. You know you can swing it back around and keep going straight.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah, that was pretty.
All right, well, my sign off, hit your breaking points. Life gets fast. Sometimes you got to slow it down. Don't want to hit a wall. Don't want to deg your tires too quickly.
You don't want to Valtteri bowling.
Yeah. So yeah, keep it on the tracks. You don't want to go out of track limits, get that black and white flag. So
can't have that.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about us. Get us a new subscriber, and we'll give you a shout out.
Yay! Yeah, there's a new thing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
We'll shout you out if you get us a new subscriber. So here's a good tip. If you want to get us a new subscriber, say, hey, my phone's dead. Can I borrow your phone real quick? And then instead of doing anything else, just go on their YouTube and subscribe to our channel.
9 times out of 10, they won't even notice, and we get that subscribed. So
that's how we've gotten the last 5 subscribers on our channel.
Hell yeah!
I was wondering how it went up to 25. But.
I might have had to subscribe to some people's stuff, so they'll subscribe to mine. But we'll talk about that.
Hey, we'll do that. I'll gladly subscribe to help subscribe to us.
Get a subscribe, and we'll shout you out. All right. Well, talk to you later, you bastards.
Later.
Love you guys.